Oh, hey, Wonder World. Happy motherfucking Tuesday. How we doing today, guys? So we're coming in hot for the 100 wonderful ways to get more and better clients. And today we are talking all about how to activate more sales conversations. Because, guys, I know sales is that big, scary word, right? Oh, no, not a sales conversation. But sales conversations are where clients come from. This is where we need to have more of those sales-based conversations and less of those coffee chat kind of energy things, right? We don't need to be in a space of coffee chats because coffee chats don't get fucking clients, okay? This is friend zone bullshit. And we want to get you out of the friend zone and into the authority zone. So people are asking you guys the magic sales question. Does anybody here know what that magic sales question is? What is it? What is it? What is it? You should definitely know it by now. It's how did you do that, right? How did you do that? And people ask you that question, how did you do that? When you're doing a really good job fucking displaying your results, right? When people can see your results tangibly, like before and after picture style, they're like, oh, damn, how the fuck did you do that? And that activates that sales conversation. Okay. So, how can you be doing that? Maybe you don't sell weight loss, so you don't have before and after pictures in the same way. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about how you can do this inside of your content in such a way that feels really energetically aligned for you, right? And in that space of really connecting with your audience so that you're selling from a true place of service. So these are not sleazy sales conversations where you're going into other people's DMs and telling them they're not doing things very well. Have you had this happen? Have you had this happen to you where people reach out to you and they're like, hey, I noticed that you're not doing this thing very well. I can help you with that. This is called negging. Okay. We don't do that shit. Okay. We don't do that shit because it's sleazy and it's shitty and it doesn't feel good. Do you like to be talked to like that? Then don't talk to people like that because it doesn't feel good. I've definitely had people do this to me. Um, by the way, people who are making less money than me, which I always think is really fucking hilarious when somebody reaches out to me and is like, "Hey, so I did an audit of your Facebook group. Like, bitch, did I ask you for an audit of your Facebook group? And I could just show you how you could be making like 20 to 30K a month every single month with this Facebook group if you made some slight adjustments." Like, bitch, I'm making 100K with my Facebook group, so why don't you get the fuck out of my DMs? Right? I'm making 100K a month with my Facebook group. I don't need you. Get the fuck out. But people do that shit, right? People do that shit. And that is because they were taught that shit. That's why they do it. And to be honest, it does in fact work, right? People get nagged and buy all the time. This happens all the fucking time. It shouldn't happen, but it does. Why? Because we're insecure, right? Because we feel this feeling of like, oh, maybe I'm not doing it well enough. Maybe I'm not doing a good job. Maybe this person knows better than me. And so people prey on that fear. They prey on that insecurity. And that's not a good thing, right? That's not a good thing. We don't want to do that in sleazy sales strategies. So let's find some other ways to activate some sales conversations where it doesn't revolve around you being a narcissistic asshole. Does that sound like fun for everybody today? Okay, so let's start by kicking this off with telling everybody in the room what the fuck it is that you sell. Put it in the comments. If I ask you the question, what is it that you do? How do you answer? What's your answer to that? I don't like it when people tell me what I'm doing wrong. Fucking nobody does, right? Nobody does. We don't even like that when we've paid people. When we've paid people and we said, "Hey, I want you to take a look at my business," and then they come in and tell you what you're doing wrong. We don't like that, right? Like that's not very fun. Once upon a time, I had nonstop audited in the very beginning. Like I had a very experienced coach came in and that was her service that she offered is that she went in and she would audit your signature program, kind of take a look at it and tell you effectively like what you should be pricing it at and all of the pieces, right? And so when I did this, I was very nervous because I was like, what if she tells me that she hates everything and it's just terrible and I need to start over? I was afraid of it, right? But because once upon a time I was a consultant and I consulted for restaurants and casinos, and that was literally my job, right? Like I went in and I had to tell people like what they could be doing better, and what they were doing wrong. And that was really uncomfortable to be a consultant, but it's also something that's extremely valuable to have somebody come in and take a look at it. And both times I've had nonstop audited. The first time I had nonstop audited, it was only like 3 or 4 months old. And so it was only, I think I had it priced at like 3K, like it was like right in the beginning. And they were like, you need to move this up to 10K right now, right? And I didn't. I was afraid. I was afraid. I didn't move it up to $10,000 till about 6 months later because I had to like build up the balls to be able to do that. But then when I had it audited the second time after I'd done like the new improvements and all of the new renditions, when it was like probably, I want to say 3 years old, when Nonstop was 3-ish years, 3 or 4 years old. I guess 3 years. I had it audited and they told me that I should move it up to 30K. And I haven't yet because I'm scared. I don't have the balls, right? People definitely get incredible results in there, and we definitely have people that are absolutely crushing it. And I could justify charging fucking 30K for it. And I definitely know coaches who have 10K programs that are like don't hold a fucking candle to that shit, right? But it's still scary to like let somebody into your world and come and assess what you've got going on. Nobody likes being told that they're not doing something correctly. And especially if they don't have permission, like it feels so gross for somebody to come into your DMs and like give you advice unsolicited. Like, bitch, I didn't ask for your motherfucking opinion, right? Like, I didn't pay for your opinion. And like, I don't even know that I value your opinion. So it's just a really nasty sales strategy that quite honestly shouldn't fucking exist. If you're doing this shit, please fucking stop. Don't neg people. Negging is the most disgusting fucking thing in the world. Okay, so as you guys are dropping in here, and we're talking about what it is that you do, right? I did this funny little thing inside of Money Making Unicorns. That's my strategy-based membership. Yesterday, where I asked people, I said, "Hey, if I asked you what you do, what would your response be?" Okay. And so everybody came into the comments with their I help statements. All right. So it was like, I help, blah, blah, blah. I help, I blah, blah, blah. Right. But it was actually a little bit of a trick question. Okay. Because the truth is it really depends on who's asking. Okay. It really depends on the set of circumstances that you have created in order for you to know how to answer what is it that you do here. Okay. Because the fact of the matter is that it's a completely different answer if I'm talking to some muggle stranger at the grocery store than it is if I'm talking to someone who's been in my programs before or someone who's been in my Facebook group for years. Right. So context is really important in activating a sales conversation. And this is something that a lot of people don't talk about because they're really stuck in this kind of robotic I help statement kind of bullshit, right? Where it's like, what do you do? It's like, I help high vibe entrepreneurs to attract unicorn clients without the struggle of cold outreach using energetically aligned social selling strategies. Like, would I ever say that at the fucking grocery store? Like, no, right? That's insane. So if you want to get better at activating sales conversations, then you need to get better at situational awareness. Okay. And that really comes from focusing on the other person in the equation. Who are you talking to right now? Okay. Because that is completely fucking relevant for how you answer the question. What is it that you do here? Does this make sense, guys? Does this make sense? Okay. So you guys are all in there dropping in your fucking little I help statements, but that's just fucking marketing jibber jabber. Okay. That's what we call jargon. All right. And we don't use it in real life. Okay. So let's imagine a real life situation. Okay. A real life situation that you are in the grocery store and you have run into somebody that, let's say, you went to high school with. Okay. And I don't know how long ago that was for you, but for me, it's 20 fucking years ago. Right. And so if somebody runs into me in the grocery store and like, maybe we're like walking out to the parking lot and like usually I'm dressed kind of like a homeless person, I'm in my sweats. I'm in my sweats and Daniel's t-shirt and I'm getting into a Bentley, which makes no fucking sense. Right. So a lot of times when I run into people at the grocery store, which I do if I go to the grocery store, which I don't because I don't want to run into people. But if I do have to go for whatever reason, I live in a small town, guys, and I went to high school here, so I fucking know everybody. So, and my mom knows everybody, so I really know everybody. So if I go to the grocery store, I'm damn near gonna fucking run into someone always, right? Probably someone I slept with in high school, full butthole transparency, right? And so if I run into them, that's always the question, right? They're like, what the fuck? Like, what, like, this is your car? Like, what is going on? What happened? What is it that you do? Okay. So if I run into like my ex, let's say boyfriend, like, because that's a nice word for it, right? If I run into my ex-boyfriend from high school and he sees me in the parking lot in homeless people sweats and my Bentley, he's going to ask me, like, what the fuck have you been up to? Like, what are you doing? And that's a completely valid question. Am I going to look at him and say, I help high vibe entrepreneurs to get to attract unicorn clients without the struggle of cold outreach using energetically aligned social selling strategies? Is that what I'm going to say? Like, no, because I would sound like a fucking idiot, right? That probably shouldn't be driving a Bentley. So let's take this into context. You're at the grocery store, okay? You've run into your ex-boyfriend from high school, and this motherfucker asks you, what is it that you do now? What is your answer? Put that in the fucking comments, okay? Because this is how we activate sales questions. And by the way, I have had plenty of my exes have bought from me. Thank you very much. So proof is in the motherfucking pudding, okay? Like it can be done. So in this context, what do we say to this person? Okay? Like we're not going to rattle off our fucking I help statement. We're going to put it into a context that this person understands, right? Okay. So if I'm talking to, let's pick my favorite ex-boyfriend. Okay. My favorite ex-boyfriend, his name is Corey. Okay. My Penny loved Corey. Penny loved Corey. Okay. Corey had this full sleeve of like tattoos, but they weren't filled in yet. So it kind of looked like a coloring book. And Corey would let Penny like go to fucking town with the fucking markers on it when she was like 6 or 7. Oh my God. She loved him. So if I run into Corey and Corey's like, hey, like, what the hell's going on? Like, what have you been up to? Like, what do you do now? Okay. As he's seeing a car that he's like, does not believe that I'm fucking driving. Right. Okay. So, like, he's like, what do you do? Like, I'm not going to rattle off my help statement. Right. Because I need to explain it to him. And so we used to bartend together. And so I'm going to bring it into the context of bartender land. I'm like, hey, you remember how like in bartender, like when we were bartending together, like I taught you how I trained him. Okay. I showed you how to use your Facebook page to build up all of those followers at the Z bar. And like your shifts went from like $30 to like 300. He's going to be like, yeah, like I remember like, well, I teach those same social media selling skills, like the way that you were doing everything on your personal profile. Like I teach that to entrepreneurs now. And so now we have all of these different people who are like health coaches or like mindset coaches or people who do like web design, anybody who's selling shit on the internet. Like I show them how to use social media to put butts in seats, just like we did back in bartender land. But now it's for their offers. And he's like, oh, and he's like, well, how do you do that? I'm like, oh, it has like an online course. So they just come in, like, the Bar Smarts course that I made you take, right? Where you had to go and take all those tests, like same kind of thing, right? So it's like an online course where they come in, they learn all these strategies, they take action on them, and then they start making more money. So I help them to make more money, just like I help you to make more money. Okay, so do you see how we're taking the context of the actual person that we're talking to and activating a sales conversation? Okay, because he's going to be like, really? Like that works? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, you're driving a Bentley? I'm like, oh yeah, no. I mean, I know this sounds fucking crazy, but like I make $100,000 a month. He's gonna be like, shut the fuck up, right? Like, no, you don't. And I'm like, how do you think I got the fucking car? Like, yeah, I know it sounds absolutely nuts. And like, I never would have believed that this was possible either. But living, breathing Bentley driving proof, bitch. Like, fucking, like, I have no reason to lie to you. Like, this is my life now. Like, I've completely changed everything. Haven't drank in 6 years. And this is what I'm up to, and like it totally works. And I have a whole bunch of clients, and I might tell a story about one of those clients, right? And saying like, hey, and you remember Rachel? Like I introduced you to her, like we were in San Diego together, and he's gonna be like, oh yeah, I remember her. I'm like, yeah, she's a bartender. Okay. And we're like, yeah, Rachel came in and she did the course and she built this like online bartending thing and she made 250 grand last year doing it. And he's gonna be like, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, I know, right? Okay. She's totally killing it. You should go look at her fucking page. She's crushing it now. Right. And I'd be like, oh, I will do that. Right. And be like, do you think that like maybe I would be good at this shit? But like, dude, you were so good at bartending. You were so good at filling up your seats. Like, absolutely. Like, if you had something to sell, like, like you definitely could do it. You have the persona for it. Like as bartenders, we all have the same kind of qualities that work really well in marketing. You could definitely do this. And he'd be like, well, but Nicole, I don't even know what I would sell. But like, well, Corey, like you have so many different things that you're good at. This guy's a barber, right? Like you're so good at cutting hair. You're fucking, really fucking creative. Like he was super artsy, like all the things. He also knows like a strange amount, like an abnormally strange amount of information about how to take care of fucking amphibians, like frogs and salamanders and shit. I don't know. He was obsessed about that girl. Like you could start a course for any of those things. Like really, and that would make money. Like yeah, like I met a guy that when I got into this stuff, he was selling a course that about how to play the fucking keyboard and was making $100,000 a month selling fucking keyboard courses. Like that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, right? And he'd be like, that's so dumb. And I'm like, I know, so you could totally do this. And be like, well, like what do I actually have to do to take to go through that? It's like, well, let me just send you the ebook. Okay. Like there's an ebook. It's got lots of pictures. So it's easy to read, but it's going to help you to see like what you could sell. And at the end, it'll let you book a call with me. Like, and I know that's kind of weird. It's like, so, you'll have to get into the online world a little bit. You have to get on Zoom, but like, we can talk in a couple weeks if you want. Like, let me just send you the ebook. So he sends the ebook. Oh, I send him over the ebook. Right. And then I remind him and like give him a hug all the way out and be like, just don't be weird about it. Just book the call. Like at the end, just book the call. I know it's a little bit strange, but just do it. And I'll see you in a couple weeks and we can talk about what you could sell. Okay. So do you see how I took him through the entire client journey in the grocery store? But I did it because I was like literally in the frequency of understanding what the sales conversation would be for him specifically. And I wasn't trying to like be a fucking robot. I want to help you guys to understand something. Okay. Real life is just like social media. Social media, just like real life. But for some reason, y'all treat those things like two different fucking things. Okay. It's like on social media, you're like, I help people to do this, that, or the other. And you put your stupid little high help statements everywhere, forgetting that the other person on the other side of their phone, right, is a real fucking human, like just like the one that you would meet in the grocery store, right? So it's a certain level of understanding that you've got to start talking to people as if they're real fucking humans on the internet. This is how we activate more sales conversations, is that we actually put ourselves into the context. Does this make sense? Right? Yeah, Adam, perfect. Like I didn't talk at him, I talked to him as Corey, right? And so if you're being the robot and you're just chirping out your stupid little I help statement, I want to remind you of something. Your I help statement is for the back of the house. Okay. It's for you to understand what you do clearly, but you've got to be able to take that and make that into custom offers with every single person that you're talking to, because every single person is fucking different. Okay. They're fucking different. And you can't treat them all the same because they're not the same. You can't treat them like numbers. You can't talk to people like that and expect them to respond in a positive way. That's not going to activate a sales conversation. That's going to activate this really fake dance that we do on the fucking internet. And you don't need to behave like that. Okay. You got to be a real fucking human on the internet too, and in person. Okay. So now let's take this into a little bit of a different context. Imagine that you're at a networking event. Okay. You're at a networking event. And so me and Liz and my mom and Amanda, we went to a networking event this weekend. Okay. It was a breathwork session with Adrienne Rivera and it was fantastic. She's so good at breathwork. It's fucking uncanny. Like doing it in person was so cool. I've done virtual sessions with her before, but we had a great time, right? And so one of the people that was there was somebody that was like, I am acquainted to. Okay. And so he walked up to me and he owns the float tank place that I go to. And he walked up to me, he's like, oh my God, like, hi, Nicole, blah, blah, blah. And so like, we're talking and doing all the things. And so we're putting things into context. His name's Chaz. And so I'm talking to Chaz as if he's Chaz. I'm not talking to him like I'm a robot. Right. And so for him, like he is in a higher echelon, like he's not just getting started with this, but he's obviously been watching me do all the things. And so he's like, I really need to get my coaching business started. Like he's running a successful business. He does energy healing. Like he has a great network of people. He knows so many people. He would be such a killer coach, right? And so like, I'm not going to talk to him the same way that I was talking to Corey from Bartender Land, right? I'm going to talk to him in the fact that he's already a successful business owner. He already like really understands like the energetic piece of like money mindset, right? And so like I'm going to talk to him at a different frequency. And like we really got into a conversation about how he could start like a men's group mastermind. And he was like, yeah, like I'm going to reach out to you like in a week or two. Like I've got this thing and then I'm going to reach out to you because I would really love some help putting all of those things together. How did I activate that sales question or that sales conversation? not by saying my I help statement, right? But like understanding where he's at in the conversation, not like coming over there and like being a fucking robot, right? I'm talking with him. I'm understanding what it is that he needs in order to get where he wants to go. And I'm not going to talk to him like Corey, and I'm not going to talk to him like a robot. I'm going to talk to him like Chaz because that's who he is. Does that make sense? So if we want to activate these sales conversations, we need to be a lot more mindful of who we're talking to. Okay. So I want you to think about being at a networking event. So if you're at a networking event and you talk to somebody who you have a mild acquaintance with, what do you do? Okay. You're going to come in and ask questions. Okay. You're going to ask questions. So it's like, hey, it's like, oh, what do you do? And it's like, oh, yeah, no, I have this marketing company, but tell me a little bit about yourself first. Right. So then they tell you about them and like you get the upper hand. Remember that the person asking the questions is the person in charge. Okay. Like we get really excited when people ask us a question because we want to talk. Don't do that. Okay. Don't ruin it. When they ask you a question, you're going to give them a very short answer and then you're immediately going to flip it back and get information about them. So then you can better explain what you do based on what they need. Okay. This is the trick to really connecting and activating these sales conversations and like really getting into that space. So I want you to think about that in person. It totally makes sense, right? Can you start activating sales conversations online in the same way that you would activate them in person? Okay, this creates a three-dimensional experience for people. So they really feel that connection instead of it being just like another number. Okay, because I can tell you guys, like, I've been treated like a number. Like, I've seen all these coaches and they're sending 30 to 50 fucking DMs a day and they're doing all this crap, right? Trying to get clients, banging down the fucking door. And I don't want to buy from that shit because I feel like a number. So you can probably see how other people feel like a number too, right? And that probably doesn't really fucking feel good for them. So you don't want to treat people like a number. You want to have this real tactile conversation. And that means that you have to have context, which means that you get to ask questions. Okay. So when you start filling up your audience, whether that's your Facebook group, your TikTok, your Instagram, with people, remember that they're real people and have real contextual conversations with them so that you can actually connect. And one of the best hacks about this is that when you have these kinds of conversations, so if I have a conversation with Corey, right, who's from Bartender Land, or if I have a conversation with Chaz, who has a successful business, who wants to like also open a coaching revenue stream, then I can take those two different types of demographics and I can create a content strategy for each of those types of people and attract more people like Corey and more people like Chaz using, you probably guessed it, content that crushes, right? So if you're using those 5 algorithm hacking pieces of content, okay, then I can make one with Chaz in mind because I had this conversation with this one person and I didn't treat him like a number. I got lots of information from him. I got lots of understanding from him of like really understanding where he's at in his business and what would help him. So then I can create content that crushes, put it out on my personal page. And of course, that's going to connect with Chaz, but that's also going to connect with other people like Chaz who own businesses who should be opening secondary revenue streams, right? So then I can call in more clients because of the conversation that I just had. So therefore, now I'm activating more and more sales conversations because I'm taking what I learned in this one sales conversation and applying it to content that crushes. If you don't have content that crushes yet, guys, this is a total no-brainer. Okay. This is the 5 algorithm hacking pieces of content that I put together in a content strategy actually from Bartender Land and then moved it over to the coaching world to attract my first 10 high ticket clients in my first 6 weeks when I just got started doing this. And I give it to you guys on a silver fucking platter. When you come into this Facebook group, it's only $7. For $7, you get this content strategy that shows you how to take transformational stories and turn them into pieces of content that are going to call in your unicorn clients and have them reaching out to you asking that magic sales question. How did you do that? Right? Because you're doing such a good job of displaying your results in such a way that's relevant to the person who's actually reading the posts. That's what makes all of the difference in the world, because the truth is you have lots of different results, right? And those results need to be packaged up and presented in such a way that the person on the other side of that post actually fucking values them. So if you don't have content that crushes yet, you want to get that fucking content strategy, just drop a unicorn in the comments and I will circle back and we will get you the link over to content that crushes, because one of the other bonuses about content that crushes is that once you complete that mini course, which it's 7 days, right? So complete your 7-day mini course. When you get to the end, you're going to take your Wonder Vow, and your Wonder Vow unlocks a super sweet bonus where you can, inside of this group, you can post anytime you want. Okay. We just turn your post approval off and you can just post anytime you want. Okay. You can come into this Facebook group and you can use this group to get clients. We have 32,000 fucking people in here. Okay. And growing every single fucking day. I guarantee you, your unicorn clients are in this fucking group. They are here. Right? They are here. You're energetically aligned with them. I promise they are here, but you got to get visible, right? And you got to start having those activating sales conversations inside of this group and on your personal page so that you can come in and you can take action and start creating these kind of client coaching experiences. Okay. So just drop those unicorns in the comments. We'll swing by with the link and you guys can get in on content that crushes so that you can start attracting your unicorn clients and you can start actually having activated sales conversations instead of I help robot statements, right? That are not going to fucking help you. Okay. Stop doing that shit. All right. Last things last. As always, you can see me in my nightmare gear today. Okay. We're in my nightmare gear today because guess what, bitches? We're kicking off the fucking Wonder Retreat. It's going to start in just a couple hours. If you've been under a rock and you don't know about the Wonder Retreat, right? The Wonder Retreat is going to be specifically for building client closing mini offers. Okay. So just like I was talking about with that ebook that I had for my ex-boyfriend, you can actually turn that into a paid item that has a low ticket cost to it, right? That helps people to come in and get a taste of what it's like to work with you so that they naturally ascend into your high ticket offers. We're going to be kicking off today with a really intense, incredible session where I'm going to literally teach you the entire strategy all in one 90-minute session. And then for the rest of the week, we're going to break it down into little tiny pieces so that you really understand how to specifically integrate it into your business. But I'm going to show you how to build a client closing mini offer that utilizes a little communication style that we call the disc, so that you're specifically targeting people, maybe like your ex-boyfriend Corey, or maybe like Chaz. You're going to create that specific target market and you're going to make a client closing mini offer so you can close clients into your business every single day. Because how much would that change your life? I want you to imagine that you have fucking clients closing every single day. Like a new person is saying yes to you and buying every single day. How is that going to change the health of your business? Okay. They're coming into this client closing mini offer. They're feeling a feeling and you're getting paid to overcome their objections, right? And then they're going to come in and naturally ascend. Guys, I got to tell you, okay, the trends that are set up for 2025, all the gurus have been talking about it, is mini offers. Okay. And that's why I'm helping you to get ahead. That's why I set this up in fucking November so that before January hits, you already have this shit in place. When everybody else is just figuring it out in January and February and Q1, you're already going to have this client closing mini offer ready to go. You're going to have the sales page done. You're going to have the delivery system done. You're already going to be marketing it because this is going to be the trend of 2025. All the gurus are talking about it because the buyers have gotten so much more discerning. And because there's a lot of smoke and mirror fucking bullshit out there on the internet, it's a good thing that people are getting more discerning, right? So people actually want to test and taste what it's like to work with you. They want to have that sample before they ascend into your 5K, your 10K, your 20K offers. They want to be in that space of really knowing what it feels like to work with you. Okay. So drop me a skull for all of the people who haven't got your tickets to the Wonder Retreat yet, because you got to get your ass in here literally fucking today because we're kicking it off. So would love to get a couple more people to come and join us so they can build their client closing mini offers. So you could be closing clients literally every single day, getting paid to overcome those fucking objections. All right, guys, I'm heading over to Money Making Unicorns because we're going to continue this conversation about how to create more sales conversations and then what to do when people ask you that magic sales question. What is it that you do, right? And how to effectively move that conversation out of the friend zone, because fuck the friend zone, right? And into that space where people are actually paying you to help them. All right, guys, get out there, do all of the wonderful things, and I will see you guys in the Wonder Retreat.